Did you know right now we have 10 NFL teams that are 2-0? We got the Bills, Bengals, Colts, Chargers, Eagles, Packers, Buccaneers, 49ers, Cardinals, and lastly, the Rams. But did you know in the 5 seasons since the NFL has expanded to the 14-team playoff, the teams that have been 2-0 have reached the postseason 80% of the time. So basically, 34 out of 42 teams have made the playoffs. So, Giselle and Spence, out of the 10 teams that are 2-0, what two teams will not make the playoffs? Because if we're shooting at an 80% clip in the past 5 years, that means two teams this year will not make it out of the 10. Who are your two teams that will not make the playoffs starting 2-0?
I do not believe in this Daniel Jones renaissance. I do not believe the Indianapolis Colts will make the playoffs. I still think, and the odds reflect this, even though the Colts are the favorite in the AFC South, the Texans at 0-2 are still second best odds to win the division. I do think the Texans will get things corrected down the stretch. And I think Daniel Jones will eventually turn into a pumpkin, if not this week. Who knows? But it will happen eventually this season. And I know one of those teams, James, was the 2024 New Orleans Saints that did not make the postseason. And there's a lot of similarities between that Saints team and this Colts team. My answer is the Indianapolis Colts.
I don't know, because technically I think that the NFC is a little bit less challenging in some regard in comparison to the AFC, but I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers missed the playoffs this season because of how many injuries that they have.
So you're telling me you don't believe in the Mac Daddy, Giselle and Spence? You don't believe in Indiana Jones?
I do not believe. I actually agree with Giselle. I think that's another good one. I'll give you another one, just an honorable mention. I don't know about. I like Jake Browning, but the Cincinnati Bengals are also 2-0. I would not be surprised if they missed the playoffs completely as well.
You know what's funny? My two answers for the two teams that wouldn't make it, 49ers and the Colts. So, yeah, heck yeah.
We are all on the same page. Well, welcome into Big Pick Energy. Week 3 is here, and I once again had a horrible week 2. Another 1-3 week for me. James 2-2. Giselle also 2-2. So James is still holding it down 4-4. Giselle 3-5, and I am 2-6. I know James, you get on me for not doing a records update. I got it this week. But I'm feeling a 4-0 week coming this week. So let's jump right into
Hell
our
yeah.
picks. James, we'll start with you. Let's start with our favorites. Who is your favorite for the week?
Spence and Giselle, man, I can't believe I'm going with this as a favorite. But the only reason why I'm going with this team as my favorite is because I do believe in teams that had an emotional road loss last week, and that right there is the Denver Broncos. So this week I am rolling with the Los Angeles Chargers plus my fault minus 2.5. Now, of course, I think the reason why this line is not at 3.5, 4.5 is because what we joke about with SoFi. It's never a home game for either the Chargers or the Rams. But Spence and Giselle, I am this close probably on losing my bet. It seems like because after 2 games, Justin Herbert's looked good, Quentin Johnson's looked good, this defense has looked good. Now we did see an injury to Khalil Mack this past Monday night on the kickoff. Spence, why is Khalil Mack on the kickoff? Like,
I couldn't believe that. I could not believe. What are you doing out there?
dude's a veteran, bro. He's not a 1 year rook. Like, man. But no, in all honesty, this Chargers team coach by Harbaugh, they've been firing on all cylinders. Maybe if they can get the run game a little bit going with Omarion, Hampton, and Najee Harris. But other than that, I feel bad for betting against the Broncos because we surprisingly picked them to win the AFC West. But losing an emotional road loss like that against the Colts, then you got to go on the road again. Let's just make this easy. Let's make it easy. Let's get the Chargers 24-13.
Ooh, 24-13. So you're going to take the under on that as well. Not
Right.
your pick this
Yeah.
week,
Not
but
my pick.
you think it's going to be an under. Okay.
Yeah. Chargers
Interesting.
defense is pretty solid.
I'll say this, James. Before the season, I was very big on this is the Chiefs' year to falter and lose the AFC West through 2 weeks. That's prediction is looking good. However, I will say the team I thought was going to overtake them was the Denver Broncos, and I do have them as the AFC West winners in a future. So I'm going to actively root against you for this one. I hope the Broncos can pull it out because if they lose this game, it's going to be tough for them to come back and win this division with them being 1-2, the Chargers moving to 3-0. And we know the
And with the
Chiefs.
head-to-head.
Chiefs most likely will. I think we're going to talk about them. Oh no, we won't talk about them this week. They are playing the Giants. Oh no, we'll talk about them a little bit later. But they're very likely to move to 1-2 as well. So I need the Broncos to get the dub, but it is music to my ears hearing you talk about Justin Herbert like that.
Oh, no.
It is interesting to me how quickly the Chargers in one season, one off season, they've changed from a run heavy team to now they throw the ball a ton. Jiselle, who is your favorite for week number 3?
Ooh, my favorite for this week. I'm going with Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Show your sweatshirt, Spencer.
I got my sweatshirt and my share here.
So funny. But yes, Green Bay is going to be my favorite of the week. I know it's very typical, but they are playing the Cleveland Browns. And if you guys don't know, the Cleveland Browns look very similar to years past, which is pretty bad. No other team has a worse turnover differential than Cleveland, and it ranks them in the bottom of the 8th. Both scoring, offense, and defensively, Browns are really not there. So this model has Green Bay winning by at least 2 touchdowns minimum. So for me, it's a very easy, thoughtless pick for me to choose Green Bay as my favorite for this week.
You know, Spence, last week we made fun of Jiselle about the -12 against the Browns and Ravens game. We were like, oh, man, you picking these crazy big spreads. -8, yeah. We you know what, Jiselle? Just Lizard, we'll slam it. No, I like the pick only because it basically one reason, maybe 2 reasons. Matt LaFleur, his against the spread record is 17-6 in September and 8-1 in true road games. I know we don't talk prop bets, but right now, Josh Jacobs has scored a touchdown in 11 straight games. I know the record's held by Christian McCaffrey at 17. Do we think Mr. Jacobs is going to score this week?
Oh, that's a bingo free square, bro.
It
Absolutely.
should be.
Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Smith. He's getting in the end zone. Come on now.
Like, if there's a time for it, it's to do it against the Cleveland Browns. Like, if you want to break a record, if you want to have a personal best, you do it against the Browns.
Yeah, Jiselle, this is second week in a row fading the Browns, and let me give you 2 things to consider. All right, as
Okay.
I'm with you, obviously, I'm repping the Packers, but let me give you 2 things to consider. One, are you nervous about it being in Cleveland at all?
No, not really, if I'm being honest with you.
Now, this is the bigger question. Are you worried about them getting a boost in confidence with these new brown helmets and all brown uniforms they're going to be wearing?
I mean, of course, that's to be expected. When you look good, you feel good, and you do good, right? I mean, hello.
Shout out primetime.
But still, I don't think that's enough for them. Again, they have one of the worst turnover differentials in the league, and they have been struggling for years on end. And it's just, I don't know what kind of bad juju the Cleveland Browns have. It's just been terrible luck of the draws for years on end. I think when the Cleveland Browns are actually a good contending team, I think that is when we will see pigs fly.
Dude, last time they've been a good contending team. The quarterback now plays for Tampa Bay, but
Yeah, and
Exactly.
honestly, we need to discuss how much that should impact his legacy. His playoff victory with the Browns is the heaviest wild card victory of all time. Like, when it
Yes.
comes to boosting someone's legacy, you know what I mean? The fact that he won a playoff game, even if it's the wild card game, he won a playoff game with the Browns. James, I know you're someone that always comes down on people for their playoff performances. I know you probably don't give a lot of flowers for wild cards, but you got to give him that one.
yeah, hey, Cleveland might say that's a better victory than Eli Manning's 2 Super Bowls. You never know how crazy
Exactly
Kansas
right.
Bro, 'cause
Exactly
the Browns
right.
have been so horrible. So.
Yeah. My favorite this week, James, you're going to love this one. I am going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Yes.
On the road. Oh, sorry. I thought we were keeping going. Okay. We'll do it
I'm
next
not going to do the whole song. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I will say the last time I picked the Eagles, James, it did work out for me. I did bet them pretty heavy in the Super Bowl, and we cashed out together. We'll always have that memory. But I'm going back to the well, and I really, really think this just comes down to a couple of things. One, I think the Eagles being at the link, that matters a lot for me. And yes, the Rams have been a very surprising team the way they've started this season. That offense is clicking after what they did in Tennessee on Sunday, and I really like what they've got going on defense. But 3.5 points. Give me that all day for the Eagles after a week where they've been constantly scrutinized for the tush push again. Jalen Hurts still under fire for allegedly not being able to throw over the middle and only being a runner.
What quarterback played in Super Bowl 59, Spence? You tell me.
Hey,
And one.
the Super Bowl MVP is who that was. And I think they are going to make a statement. They've heard all the talk, they hear all the noise. I think they come out and they make a statement in a very important game in the NFC playoff picture. I know it's week 3, but I think we can fast forward down the season. These are two teams that will be vying for playoff positioning at the end of the season. This is going to be a game we're going to look back on in weeks 15, week 16, week 17 as that was the tiebreaker. And I think the Eagles get it done. -3.5. James, how you feeling on that one?
Yeah, no, I like the pick. I think right now, the line started at 4.5 and it went down to 3.5 because a lot of people have been seeing what the Rams have been doing, But let's be honest, I know this may offend some of y'all. Their 2 victories are against 2 teams in the AFC South that have a combined record of 0-4. So a lot of hype's going on them. Yes, they are still technically a good team, but at the end of the day, like you mentioned, Jalen Hurts 27-3 straight up as a home favorite in his career. That's very tough to beat. You already know Saquon and them, they're gonna be ready for the run. I know the emphasis on Sean McVay's defense they'll probably put 9 in the box this week because of what the 2 games Saquon had against them last year. Be on the lookout. I know everyone doesn't believe Devontae or AJ Brown can catch the ball, but hey, be on the lookout for their prop bets. I think they're gonna go over on the receptions because remember the Steelers game last year? Oh, AJ is so upset. He ain't doing this. And then he gets 10 receptions for 100 yards. But I will say one key thing that I like also about your pick, Spence, is Matthew Stafford is 9-14 against the spread when facing a team that he lost in the previous matchup, and he's 5-9 against the spread on teams outside of the NFC West. So I like the pick, and of course, as well, West Coast coming to the East Coast. Just book it. Lizard.
All right, let's move on to our underdogs. Jiselle, we'll start with you on this one. Give me hope, Jiselle. Who's your underdog for week 3?
Alrighty, guys. Since we're on Heartbreak Hill right now, our team, you and
come on,
Spence,
man.
we're 0-2. I felt like it was a nice gimme. My underdog will be the Houston Texans facing the Jacksonville Jaguars at +2.5. I believe that the Texans can beat Jacksonville by at least 3 points or more. And if not, we're done.
Things are going to be bad.
Oh man, we're done. Is that where we're going? Well, I mean, it's tough to make the playoffs at 0-3.
I don't like being a pessimist. I'm really not. I had a couple DMs from post game 2 against the Buccaneers. People are like, "Oh my God, are you panicking? Are you scared?" I'm like, "I'm scared. No, panicking. No, disappointed. Yes, but there's no reason to panic. It's still very early in the season. However, what does give me cause of concern is obviously that O-line and these really tight margins of errors when it comes to the 3rd and 4th down conversions. When it comes to the Texans, I don't exactly understand why they don't have their groove. They have everything that they need. They have phenomenal leadership. They have a great quarterback. They have so many key players. I just don't understand why they're in this rut. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I get it, Joe Mixon is injured, but despite Mixon's injury, we have a lot of people to offset his absence.
2 things here that work in the Texans' favor. I was not ready for my heart to be hurt again, but I'll give you this is why I like this pick. 1, we know the history of the Texans going to Jacksonville. That has been a stadium the Texans have owned for a very long time. I forgot the amount of years they've won consecutively in Jacksonville, but it's a substantial number. 2, people aren't talking about it, but Christian Kirk finally expected to make his Texans debut in Jacksonville. Revenge game narrative potential. I think we're talking about props this episode. Is that's the theme? I would love to see the odds on a Christian Kirk anytime touchdown this week. It just kind of feels like that's going to happen. And the Texans sorely need another option in the pass game outside of Nico Collins because it is rough out there. You got one catch from Jaden Higgins, the 2nd round pick. I'd like to see him on the field more. I'm tired of seeing Justin Watson, although shout out to Justin Watson. I know he went down on the IR today. I probably shouldn't talk trash on him, but I want to see more wide receiver talent than Justin Watson. Give me
Yeah.
some Christian Kirk. Give me some Jaden Higgins. And look, if the Texans lose this game and they go to 0-3, and we're looking at the Jags at 2-1, and the Colts are either going to be 3-0, 2-1, that's going to be a tough hole to dig themselves out of. But
Mhm.
more reason to be optimistic. James, I know you mentioned it earlier. The Texans have lost 2 games to NFC opponents. The games that get you into the postseason, guys, are not the games against the other conference. So I'm hanging my hat on that. I'm choosing to believe that this Texans team is 0-0. All right, because those 2 games at the end of the season, they won't really matter other than that's their record. You are
Yeah.
what your record says you are, but they can still
Yeah.
very easily turn this thing around. So,
Mhm.
Giselle, you're bold. I like it. I just couldn't do it this week, but I'm going to ride with you.
Yeah, no, Giselle, I think the pick is
Ride with
bold,
me.
but I like it because I have, one lovely trend, and it's the divisional favorites, 7 points or less, are 1-25 against the spread, coming off of a non-divisional loss. So of course they lost to the Bengals, and the total's over 38. So I like this spot. And you mentioned it, Spence. Yeah, y'all don't beat them in Houston. Y'all beat them in Duval County. So I'm rolling with it too. Because guess what? Don't let this public get you afraid to bet like real sharp picks, man. We're sharp right here. We're going Texans. People think because they're 0-2 don't mean they can get a dub. They're getting the dub, man. It's in
Yeah.
division, big
Come
dog.
on
Come
now.
on. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Relax.
Relax.
Come on.
Relax. All right, James, let's hear your underdog.
I can't believe it. I was talking trash about this team, and all of a sudden I said, you know what? And Spence, I did this last year too, and they let me down. But I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. Give me the Carolina Panthers plus
Oh,
5.5. Give me the team no one wants to bet on. They have looked so horrible. But there's a couple things, that
Let's hear. I know you've got some stats for this one, James.
I don't have serious stats for like I guess like Carolina side of things.
That's a good friend. You've got stats for me and Giselle's picks, but you don't have stats for your own.
Well,
That's a
well,
good friend.
Right?
for Carolina's pick, like for a Carolina side, yeah, there's no stats. I'm like screwed out the yinging. But if there's one thing that goes in my favor, is 2 things. One, the Panthers have not played in a home game this season yet, so they get a home game against a divisional rival. Those get tight from time to time. But Raheem Morris, since being a head coach for the Falcons, as a road favorite, is 1-7-1 against the spread. So he doesn't perform real well. I know everyone's a little overreactive about last week's win in Minnesota. Of course, yes, you could say they beat the brakes off the Vikings. They handled the Vikings, JJ, whatever. Dude, all I know is right now, Panthers at home. Bryce has to step the F up. I don't give a crap. You could lose the game. I don't care. You cover this spread. And one thing I will say, T Mac and Bryce Young have a real good rapport going on. He's getting a lot of receptions per game. I know it's only 2, but games right now, but I like, the offense coming up. I know one thing to look at, Panthers though, 7-1 on the over in the last 8 games at home. So maybe an over
Okay.
pick, but let's go 5.5 because for some odd reason I said I was down on my Alabama boys, but I gotta pick myself up
One more week.
one more effing week.
No, James. I can see the Falcons winning by at least a touchdown.
Hey, let's find a way to win 25-20. I call it a day.
I like the call out on T Mac because Tedoroa McMillan, he looks legitimate wide receiver
Mhm.
1 there in Carolina, which is good because a year after they traded back into the first round to take Xavier Leggett, that guy is horrible. Yeah, he talks funny. Oh, he's hilarious. He is not an NFL football player. He's going to be out of the league very soon. I'm not a believer in Xavier Leggett at all. But I do want to point something out. James, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of this pick just because
Oh
of how
yeah.
impressed I've been with the Falcons this year. And this is
Oh
more
yeah.
about the Falcons than the Panthers. The Falcons, for the first time, it feels like ever. It feels like for the first time ever, they have a pass rush. Those
Yes.
2 rookies that they got in the first round, they are balling out. And I think this Falcons defense is legit. I mean, we saw what they did to the Vikings. That was a Vikings offense that looked very good in week 1, and they completely stifled them on Sunday Night Football at home in Minnesota. I think this
Yes.
Falcons defense is legitimate, and they'd be 2-0 if it weren't for their kicker, and they've remedied that situation. Parker Romo meeting his teammates, probably still, but If
My
they
man at
if they
Magic
make
City right now, Spence. My man at Magic City right now, bro. You went 5 for 5. Bro, we're about to give you the 5-piece wings for the $5 lap dance, big dog.
That's
Thank you.
hilarious.
But yeah,
Thank you.
Parker Romo definitely strikes me as a guy who's going to be pulling up to the club. But
Mm,
yeah, James, I'll say this: I always like divisional games. With the spread, they always are toss-ups. Truly, so it's not that I hate it. I would go Falcons in this game just because of what we've
yeah.
seen from their pass rush. But
Yeah,
I'll
I
go ahead.
agree.
I'll top you, James, because my underdog pick actually I'm not 100% confident on it, but I feel obligated to pick it because of how high I was on this team before the season. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals plus 2.5 in San Francisco. Now, I honestly, James, the reason I don't like this bet that much is I wish I could have gotten it at like plus 3.5 or plus 4.5. But
Mm,
the reason it's plus
Yeah,
two and a
four and a
half,
half would be nice.
yeah, I know, right? It can be plus 8.5. I feel great about that, of course. But I think obviously the reason this line is what it is because of Mac Jones. That is looming for the 49ers. Probably another start for Mac Jones. Brock Purdy still nursing that toe injury. And I think that Arizona, despite how they finished the game against the Panthers, where they damn near let them come back and beat them on just madness, I really feel like the Cardinals have looked, and they honestly did that same week in week one also. But despite the final scores being closer than the game actually
Mhm.
indicates, I actually feel like the Cardinals have played two very, very good games from
mhm,
start to finish in week one and week two against two of the worst teams in the league,
mhm,
albeit. But I think this is a good team. I'm liking what Kyler's doing this year. We need to get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved. He needs to become a focal point of that offense. Trey McBride's going to do Trey McBride things. His defense, Jonathan Gannon has, I always will say this, it is one of the more underrated units in the NFL. And I think with the Niners, when's it going to happen with Ricky Pearsall? We were getting preseason hype. We had a good week one, but disappointing week two. I think that continues. I'm going to hammer the under on this game also, but I
okay.
Oh
think the
yeah.
Arizona Cardinals are going to pull out a tough one on the road in Santa Clara.
Mm,
Heck yeah. No, Spence, I'm with you. I don't like the pick at plus 2.5 because you know me. Hold on, matter of fact, we just talked about one Alabama quarterback. Give me the Mac Daddy of them all. You know I'm a believer in that Mac Daddy Jones. Now, I will say this, Spence. Crazy thing. When it comes to Kyler has had a better has had a above 500 record against the spread on the road all 6 years he's started. He's currently 32, 17, and 2 against the spread on the road. So that's in your favor, right? You
mhm,
also get, backup quarterbacks under Shanahan in San Francisco, 18 and 9 straight up, but 15 and 12 against the spread.
Mm.
The only thing that's holding me back, Spence, from agreeing with you, Kyler Murray, 8 and 20 straight up against the NFC West. And I'm like, 2.5. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still cover 2.5. I mean, look what the Colts did. They found a way to cover it. But
Sure.
man, when you're 8 and 28 straight up, it's like you might as well just throw the ticket out, big dog.
mhm.
Yeah, and it opened at plus 3.5 for the record. It's come down to plus 2.5. Maybe that makes me feel a little better, but it also kind of doesn't because, like I said, I wanted that line a little bit more. But again, the
Yeah.
Cardinals were my dark horse candidate to make
Okay.
some noise in the NFC West this year. So I'm going down with the ship, and I'm going with the Cardinals in week three.
That's really ballsy. I feel like
Hey,
most people would choose the Niners over the Cardinals.
hey,
Yeah. Oh yeah, they
scared money
will.
don't make money, dog. Scared
This
Yeah.
is
money don't
true.
make money.
This is true. Mac Jones is stepping in for the injured Brock Purdy, but Mac Jones ended up throwing for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Saints. But the Cardinals ended up lifting up like a 6.5 point line, I think, against the Carolina Panthers, if I'm
Yeah,
not
they were.
mistaken.
Yeah, you could have got it at 7.5. I got 7.5, so I was happy. But yeah, it ended up closing at 6.5.
So, I mean, Kyler has been doing very well, which I'm happy for him because I think he needs this good PR, this good buzz. Because for some time, most people would
Well,
associate Kyler with video games,
Well, he's
hey,
got
not
you
some.
talk about
playing
PR.
football.
Throw
You
it, Spence.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got in some trouble this week for wearing a Michael Vick jersey and posing with his dogs on Instagram. Good going there, buddy. I don't know what he was thinking with that.
I will say it was a clean Virginia Tech jersey. I'll give
It-
him that. It was,
yeah,
but yeah,
but
but that pit bull, my man said he got that
what
dog in him.
Yeah.
what are
You
we
should have spun it like
doing,
that. Like,
bro?
I got that dog in me, guys. We just gotta, it's a little bit tongue in cheek joke, but you just gotta kind of laugh it off. It's no big deal.
Yeah, he
But
opened his
yeah,
press conference today. I do not condone animal violence in any way.
I know, poor thing. He was like, oh man, I wish I didn't wear this dang
That
jersey.
was
But man, I
it,
had to, have a press conference over, that. But
that was a
sometimes it has to be
choice.
said.
That was a choice. All right, let's score some points this week, guys. Jiselle, who is your over for week 3?
My over for week 3 is going to be the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen against the Miami Dolphins
I
and
love it.
the crap
Love it.
show that's going on with Tua, Tyreek Hill, and poor old Mike McDaniels. Poor thing. Honestly, he's taking a really big brunt of the heat because he is one of the youngest
Good.
head coaches in the NFL. And they were on such a good high. And now I just feel like it's just crashing and burning. But what can I say? You have a quarterback who has tremendous amount of head injuries. And then you couple that in with Tyreek Hill. Yes, he's a cheetah. Yes, he's so fast. But he's also so fast and getting into so many legal troubles and having a plethora of kids. Tyreek Hill is the Nick Cannon of the NFL. Prove me
No, he
wrong.
is. No, no.
Whoa. I will prove you wrong on this one. That
Too
title
Philip Rivers.
belongs to the GOAT, Antonio
Oh my
Cromartie.
god, yeah, I forgot about him.
Antonio Cromartie got all of them beat.
Oh my God.
Continue though. Sorry,
No,
Giselle.
you're good. But Tyreek Hill is our current day NFL Nick Cannon.
Absolutely. He's definitely giving Philip Rivers, Antonio Cromartie a run for their money.
Yeah, you can say that again. But yeah, I'm going with Buffalo for this one. I think this is a very comfortable pick for my over. I believe in them to be able to go 49.5, knowing that even if the Dolphins manage to score 14 to 17 points, the Bills should be able to double whatever the Dolphins score. So for me, I think I'm at ease. I'm like, just please, Bills, do not let your foot off the brakes. Just keep it going.
Yeah. So Giselle, I like the pick. I was gonna join you, but I was like, if we both go down for the ship, I'm gonna be upset with you. So I decided to go a different direction.
Okay.
Right now, through 2 games, Miami's defense is averaging 33 points a game. So right now, it looks like, hey, and we think about it, hey, Daniel Jones, Drake May, then you get Josh Allen. You tell me Josh Allen can't drop 33 on the Dolphins?
Period.
We'll see. We'll see about that. But I will say one thing that goes in your favor, the highest point spreads in Mike McDaniel's career are all against the Bills, including this one tomorrow night,
Wow.
or I should say Thursday night. But in those 3 games at plus 14, they lost 34-31. So that's 65 points. At plus 7 in 2022, they lost 32-29. That's 61 points. Did I say 61 earlier? 65. My math is off. And then plus 6.5 at Buffalo, they lost 30-27. And Thursday night is 12.5. So let's get 50 plus points.
Let's boogie.
All right, James, who is your over for
So
week
mine
3?
is going to be probably the oddball of them all, just because up in the air if Justin Fields is going to play or not. Is it going to be Tyrod? I'm not going to lie. I kid you not. I have no stats on either of these teams, but the only thing that I have is a trend where if both teams previous week hit the under, play the over. So it's just a flip of the roux. Of course, Bucks went to the under. Jets last week went to the under. So I'm just really flipping it around. Bucks get a home game. We like Baker. Of course, that this is his first home game in Tampa after 2 road games in Atlanta and Houston. Spence, I'm about to start bowing down on the whole offensive rookie of the year with you because Emeka has already got 3 TDs. He might as well get a 4th this week against the Jets because the Jets, think about it as well. They, a team that we thought that were built off of defense. Aaron Glenn built off of defense. Look what they are allowing. They're allowing 32 points a game right now. And both of those games were at home. And so it's like, damn. And now you're about to go to Tampa where it's still September. It's still hurricane season. It's gonna be 101. It's gonna be humid, big dog.
Yeah.
So
And that's their home
that
opener
is their
also,
home
right?
opener, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. And that Buccaneers team, that is a good
Yeah.
team. Baker Mayfield's on a mission this year,
For
guys.
sure.
You want to talk about a conversation? I saw a stat that showed like Baker's yards, completion, yada yada yada. He's better than the ones that we call top 4.
Yeah.
And it's like,
He's in the same league
I
as
think
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, help
Burrow
me,
and
Joe
Mahomes.
Burrow. I'm really happy to hear that because I really loved and fell in love with Baker Mayfield as a quarterback when he played at OU. And it was really heartbreaking to see how crappy of a hand he got playing at Cleveland. And I was just like, please don't let this break your spirit, please. Because initially, we first saw that with Johnny Manziel, and we expected a little bit more of a high. But again, he went to the Browns, and Johnny, he liked to have fun. That's okay. He's a good time. You know what I mean? And then I saw Baker have the same fate. I was like, please don't let this break your spirit. I don't want him to turn into Johnny and him be like, oh, he was a great collegiate quarterback, but didn't really do much in the NFL. So I was really trucking it out with him, and it just is really awesome to see him play for Tampa Bay and to be able to step into the shoes once Tom Brady left the Buccaneers franchise. Those were huge shoes to fill,
Mhm.
but Tom Brady made sure he gave him his credit, gave him lots of compliments once he retired and was like, hey, like I really do believe in Baker Mayfield. I think he's a standout guy, and I think that Tampa Bay is in good hands. And Baker has been able to showcase that for the last basically 2 seasons now. So for that, in Baker we trust.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And lately, ever since the photos and the videos been going out about him talking trash to CJ Gardner Johnson, the photos have been popping up lately as him being the defensive end practice squad team for the Carolina Panthers.
yeah.
And it comes to like think about it, Spence and Giselle. Not during Carolina. The big like, what if the Rams did not call Baker that day and
Mm-hmm.
said, hey, we need you to show up for a Thursday night game. We ain't got nobody. And he goes out on that Thursday night game, and I think it was against the Raiders, and beats them on like one day of knowing the playbook. Like, what if the Rams did not call Baker? Dude, that'd be like, where would he be right now? Would he be in Tampa? Who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
at least, like you mentioned, what he did in Cleveland and how he got dealt but poorly in Cleveland and in Carolina, and then he got an opportunity in LA. Hey, someone saw him and was like, hey, he got that dog in him.
I'm glad they did because I knew he had it. And I'm glad he said the Panthers. That was a blip in my memory. That was a very quick,
It, it, wa-
short chapter.
it was like him and Sam Darnold were both there.
And I still think one of the most impressive things in NFL history is how he won that game for the Rams when he had the playbook for 2
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
days, and he led them on a
95
game-winning
yards, I
drive.
think it was. It was
90,
something like that.
yeah, super long drive. That drive right there is what got him to
Yeah.
where he
100.
is.
And you
What a
mentioned that
story.
blip. Like,
Love
dude
it.
got benched for XFL PJ Walker.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember that.
PJ Walker.
And I was like,
Shout out to the Houston Roughnecks.
like,
Shout out PJ
whoa.
Walker, Temple Owls alum.
Like, wow.
All right, my over is a crazy one, but I actually feel very confident. James, I'm a probabilities guy, all right? I'm going the over in the Vegas Raiders versus the Washington Commanders. It's over 44 and a half points that I need to get to. And here's why, James. The Raiders' first 2 games, under. The Commanders' first 2 games, under. The last time these 2 teams played back in 2021, under. Something is due for an over. And I'll say this. I know it's most likely Jaden Daniels is not going to play in this game. He's nursing a knee injury. If he does miraculously play, I still want this line. No, I'm just kidding. We'll adjust it if it goes up a little bit. But that being said, I'm still confidently taking this over where it's at because I think Marcus Mariota is one of the better backups in the NFL that no one really talks about. I know he had a really ugly ending with his tenure in
That was bad.
Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he is good enough to run this offense for the Commanders. And on the other side, we have not gotten a glimpse fully of the Ashton Genty show. I think we get that this week. I think we get some Ashton Genty touchdowns rolling. 44 and a half is a very obtainable number. I think I see this game as something in the ballpark of like 27-21.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who's it going to be, but I want points scored in this matchup. So give me Raiders, Commanders over 44.
Yeah, I don't have much for this besides the trend that I mentioned for my over pick. 2 teams that went under last week. Flip it. Let's get the over.
Yeah, and this is unders 2 weeks in
Yeah.
a row. Both of them 2 weeks in a row under. So your stat is definitely due for this one.
Honestly, Spence, I do like this pick. This would have been my naughty pick. It was my backup one. Then I was like, I'd rather not.
That's gonna have to be a new segment, bro. That's gonna have
A naughty,
dude.
naughty
That
pick.
yeah, how she did that. That's got to be a new one.
All right, let's bring it home with our unders. James, who is your under for week 3?
My under for week 3 is going to be the under 45.5 between the Chiefs and the Giants. Now, of course, why I'm going with this one, because Kansas City is 20-2 to the under when facing an opponent that failed to cover the last meeting. So the Giants did not cover the last time they played the Chiefs, and then they allow more than 66% passing. So let's get it going. I know another trend, I don't have the numbers for it, is the Giants home unders, which they hit at like a 70% clip. I don't know what it is about MetLife and the Giants, but just bet the under. You might be profitable. Maybe not to the S&P 500, but you'll be profitable.
Fair enough. I like this one. Primetime under,
Yep.
James. I know we're trying to make it the year of the primetime overs, and Giselle's trying to get that too with her Bills and Dolphins pick. But this is one I like a lot. Obviously, the Chiefs 0-2, Giants 0-2. One of these teams is going to 0-3. I would love for the Giants to somehow win an ugly ass game where they win on like a game winning field goal, and it's just gritty and just disgusting. But they beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs go to 0-3. Oh my
Dude.
God. I want to live in that world. I don't think we're going to live in that world,
Probably
though, but
not.
I still don't think this is going to be a high
No.
scoring affair. I love this pick for you, James. 45.5 is also a massive number considering
These two teams, I don't want to say
Yeah.
Giants that, because whatever they did last week, because if we get the Commander game that the Giants played, and you get what the Chiefs have done the last 2 weeks, and even against the Eagles, because the Giants defensive line, people just forget because they think they suck. But when you got Sexy Dexy, Abdul, Thibodeau, and then freaking I can't even think of Brian Burns, that is a solid
Mhm.
4.
Yeah, they have a very, very good front four, and I like what I've seen from Russell Wilson. And I'll say this too. I'm ready to have the conversation about Malik Neighbors' spot amongst the upper echelon of the wide receivers in the I'm gonna call him top 3.
Top 3 is kind of crazy.
Hey,
Man,
go
my
ahead and
voice is
just give me
cracked.
3
Do
LSU
it.
guys off the jump. We'll go Jamar Chase, we'll go Jettas, and we'll go
I
Malik
do like
Neighbors.
him.
That's how
What
special
did he
this guy is.
say?
But top 5,
Yep.
not top 3 yet. Let's see after the season. Then you can do top 3, but top 5.
I think Malik Neighbors is there because think about it. What he did his rookie year with just complete nobodies at quarterback, what he's done through 2 games this year has just been sensational. He was the reason why Russell Wilson was doing what he was doing. I truly believe that. It was just, hey, Malik Neighbors is down there somewhere. I know Wandale Robinson had a pretty good game too, but Malik Neighbors is special.
Oh, yeah.
He is special. In hindsight, I bet the Cardinals, if they could go back in time, they'd take him over Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh,
Just
I mean,
being
that's
honest.
fair. But honestly, I think it'd be cool if the Chiefs did go 0-3 for the simple fact that they wore the shirts that they wore before their week 2 game. No, that was naughty on them. That was no bueno. Bad news bears. Bad.
See, I thought they were just handing out free rice at the end of the game. Surely they're not advocating for that guy to be freed, right?
Right.
That'd be a
right.
Chinese
Surely.
takeout
That can make
special.
sense to
Free
me.
rice if the Chiefs win.
Surely they would not be wanting to absolve Rashee Rice of everything he's done.
I mean, you would
Right?
think, shouldn't this be a very smart team? They've won several championships. They would not do something like that. They would not have a bad PR stunt like that. Right?
Right?
Ugh.
Giselle, who is your under for week 3?
Okay, this one can kind of go,
Ugh.
but my under for this week are the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings under 41.5 points because both of the quarterbacks are going to be injured. So my thing is maybe they won't score a lot of points, but then I also thought, well, on the other side of that, they could score a lot of points because the quarterbacks aren't that good. So this one's a little bit risky. This is my one pick for this week that I am not 100% confident on. F it,
No.
we ball.
No, I feel this pick. I mean, like you mentioned, 2 backup quarterbacks are playing. We got Carson Wentz, we got Jake Browning. But then, what are we going to get? Are we going to get the Jake Browning that we saw? It dropped, 27 points against the Bengals. I know the Vikings defense is a little bit better than the Jaguars because if it wasn't for their defense and stopping the Falcons those 4 times in the red zone, they'd have got blown out. So I think the defense can hold the team to the field goals. I will say, only thing I like about your pick, Carson Wentz's last 14 games that he started since December 21, his under is 11-3.
All right, and I mentioned it earlier, my 2 top wide receivers in the NFL going head-to-head in this
Yes.
one. The winner of this game with the backup
Yes.
quarterback, they are the undisputed best wide receiver in football.
Thank you.
Can we agree to that?
Honestly, I'm totally for that. You got to make the best of what you got. And if they're able to make the best of what they got, then you know what? You real good in my books. Whether that matters or not, but it matters to me.
Yeah, and we've seen them both perform with backup quarterbacks in the past. So I like this pick for the under just because of the reasons you said. But as someone who has some shares of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in fantasy, I do hope at least some points get scored.
Yeah, you know, hey, 2 touchdowns apiece. It's 14-14 and the game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
There we go. Everyone's happy. All right. I'm bringing it home, and this one is a statistical pick. I'm going with the under in the Chicago Bears versus the Dallas Cowboys game, under 50.5. With how these two teams have played the first 2 weeks, I think this game is going to be a lot uglier than 50.5 points combined. The Cowboys, I know they had a great showing last week where they just went crazy in the fourth quarter, but before that, they really weren't playing great offense. Same story happened with them in week 1. They had a great first half, and then they didn't really show up in the second half. In fact, they didn't score a single point in the second half of the first game. And meanwhile, for the Bears, I don't know what we're going to get with the Bears at this point. They're kind of like the opposite of the Cowboys, where they play really good for most of the game, and then they are terrible at the end. Last week, they got 50 burger dropped on them. So I get why the spread is high, but this has all the makings of a game where these two teams are punting back and forth all day long. Should be a fun, interesting game, narrative-wise, who's going to come out on top. The Cowboys could be 2-1 going into next week against the Green Bay Packers, or the Bears could end up getting their first win with Ben Johnson. I think that would be a big deal for them. I don't know who's going to win this one, but I feel confident it's going to be uglier than 50.5 points.
I'm with you, Spence. I'm a little nervous of picking the under, but I'm thinking about last year, the Saints, and I'm just like, they had point galore because the Bears have gone over both of their games, and I'm like, oh God, they should hit the over. They just let the Lions drop 52 on them. How could this game only be 50? But I'm with you. The reverse trend, both teams hit the over, so you bet the under. The only thing that scares me about this stupid game is that damn kicker they have in Dallas, who is automatic 3 points from like 70 yards in. And I'm like, that's the field goal that's going to piss me off. Is it for real? It's going to be, kid you not, Spence, the line's 50.5. Yeah, here you go. It's going to be 25-24 Bears, 70-yard field goal. And I'm like, this guy's going to make it.
Yep.
He's going to make
I see it coming. And that's how my season has been up to this point.
Early.
Losing, yeah. Although that's not true. I've had several that were just like completely no chances, especially my unders. My unders have been horrendous this year. Like I'm 0-2 on my unders, and neither of them have been close. But this week, I'm hoping I can get on track and get my first under victory of the week. But y'all let us know in the comments who y'all got in week 3, and we will see y'all next week for Big Pick Energy for week 4. Until then, y'all enjoy NFL Sunday.